In this class, we are going to learn how you can build a registration form or the feedback form similar to what you're seeing on the screen, wherein I am having a couple of input parameters with a button and the background image with the transparency effect for the form. So this we are going to develop right from the scratch with the help of Visual Builder application. So without wasting much time, let's begin with the hands-on and learn from scratch how we can design such kind of form. To begin with, we need to create an application in our Visual Builder applications. I have created an application with the name registration form -app. So coming to the web applications, I will create one application over here with the name as register app. You may create one like this and click on create. I have opened this main start page. So there is a boilerplate code added by Oracle. Let me first of all get rid of this everything whatever is added in this boilerplate main start page. Let me switch back to the designer. Now it's neat and clean. Now first of all, what I will do is, for the registration purpose, which is what we are considering for this demo, we are going to create a form, a dummy form. First of all, we need to add a form over here. So in VBCS, we are already having a layout that is called as a form layout. Just drag and drop it over here. So it will add a form layout over here. I'm very much comfortable working in the code wherein I can drag and drop the label value, label title and the label input parameters over here. Let me switch back to this code. Now before form, I want a heading to be added. So let me drop a heading over here. Drag and drop the heading, that is before form. It has dropped over here. Let me just cut and paste it over here. You may format the document, but it is by right clicking on this screen and selecting format the document. Done. So we are having two div sections over here, one header and one OJ form layout. So I will make this as h2. Just drag this slider over here and make it as h2 header. Now let's come to this OJ form layout. In the OJ form layout, I will name this as register as the ID. Done. Now in the h2 heading, I will get rid of everything over here. I don't want to style this because we are going to make use of CSS in this class in order to style this entire web page. So this I will remove, and for this div class, I will just get rid of everything over here and use one more class over here. This we are going to create shortly in this class, and also I will add one main CSS class which I am going to create later. So main I have added for the parent div, and for the child div I have added this register class which we will create shortly. Now in the h2 here, I am going to name this as registration form. Done. Now coming to the form layout, I am going to add couple of form parameters over here. First thing I will add over here is the first name, where the user can enter the first name as well as the second name. Just drag this label value and drop it over here. Click on this OJ label value and try to name this as form first name. Done. Next, I am going to drop the label over here, drag and drop it over here. Done. Now select this, and from the for, we have to select it for form first name. So this will be tied up to this form label value. Now here I am going to name this as first name. Done. Now we need couple of input parameters over here. One is to accept the first name, and the same we are going to repeat for the second name as well. Now from here I will search for the input. So there is the input text over here. Just drag and drop it after this label. Done. Now just let me remove this space. Now click on this OJ input text. From the ID, we can provide the ID over here. I am going to name this as input first name. Done. If you just scroll down, there is a slot name. Just select over here as a value, and for the label we need to select it as label. Done. One is a label, another one is a value. If you want to provide some hint for the label, you can provide it over here. I'm not going to do that for this class. Now I will copy entire thing from here, that is from OJ label, and paste it over here. Now click on this second OJ label value and rename this as form second name. And the same thing we need to provide over here. So if it doesn't automatically change, then we have to provide over here as well. So label over here it has changed for the first as we had copy pasted. So this we can correct. So this label is for this label value and this label is for this label value. And in the label value we need to change the name as second name. Now let me switch to the designer and see how our form looks. Now our form looks something like this. Like this you can add couple of more parameters over here, but we are not considering that for this use case. Now what I will do is I will add one submit button at the end after this form. Now I will search for submit. You can have n number of criteria in the form, like the radio button, you can have an input, you can accept the age, you can accept the email address, so and so forth things. I am going to drop the button at the end. In any form we will be having a button where the user can submit the details. Now for this button I don't want any div class around it, I just want the button, so I will remove the div sections which are added automatically. Here instead of sub button I will write over here as submit in the label, and ID I will name this as submit button. Done. Go to design. It looks something like this, but we are going to style this with the help of CSS. Now go to CSS, expand this web application, expand the resources, expand CSS and click on app.css. Now first of all I will try to add the margin. I will add the star and margin and padding to 0. Margin it is 0 and padding I will add 0. We will side by side preview the application as and when we work with the CSS. Just preview this in the browser. Let it open. Let me add few more stuffs over here in the CSS. Next thing what we will do is we will try to add the background, that is the body. In order to add the image to the background, what we can do is we can make use of this body. We can add the background directly to the body in the HTML. Now the HTML page, it will be visible under the source over here. If you click on the source and expand this register app, you will have this index.html. If you click on this, you will have a body section. Whatever you work with will be part of this body. Let us go back to this app.css. First of all, what I will do is I will add a background image. Now for that, what I will do is I will make use of this background property and then I will make use of this URL. Now in order to add the background, we need an image. So let me add the image. Go to web application. So there is a section called as resources. Now here we need to right click and click on import. Here I will provide the name as under images. I am going to import, or else you can directly click on this plus over here and you can import directly over here. So that is one more method. You can drag and drop the image file over here, or you can just click over here and select from the file system. I'm going to select this backimage.jpg. Make sure the size of the file is small and quality is not distorted. Click on import. Now let's verify whether it has imported or not. Yes, it has imported over here. Now we are going to provide the location of the image, that is / images. This because this is in one folder up. We are modifying this app.css, that is within the CSS folder. So we need to come out of this, that is under the parent, and under the parent we have to refer the image. And from the image we need to search for our respective image. I am going to name back image.jpg. Done. Next what I am going to do is I am going to set the background size. So I want this to be 100%. Done. Next is the background position. I want it to be at center. So I will make use of background position. It is center. Done. Now let's preview. Go to here and right click and reload. As you can see, our background image was loaded first and then the form over here. Now we are going to fix this issue. So instead of adding this over here in the body, what I'm going to do is I will make this as a class, that is image background. Now I will copy this and go to my root page, that is the shell page. Click on this. So whatever you add over here in the main start or any other page within the VBCS application, it will be added as part of this container block, that is over here. So we need to add our class over here, for which we have added the background image. Done. Now go back to the design and let's refresh over here. Now this time our web page has to load first, then the background image. Now let's see how it loads. Yeah, our web page has loaded first, then the background image. So like this we can optimize our VBCS application so that the user experience is not hampered. Now let's go back to our application, go to app.css. Next thing what we are trying to do is we are going to add the styling for our heading. So that is h2. Our heading, let's check what is the HTML tag for our heading. Yeah, it's h2 only over here. We don't have any classes, so we'll add directly to the h2. Suppose in your project if you are having multiple headings with h2 tag, then you can refer to any further classes within that, or you can refer with the help of id, that is hash. I hope you know all those things. I will add the padding to the left for this heading, that is 30 px, that's enough. Then I will add the font family for this sans serif. You can set those things default as well for your Visual Builder application. Now let me just reload this. Yeah, that's fine. Now we are going to style this main class which we have added for this div, that is at the parent level. Now let's go back to this app.css. Here I am going to refer to that main as div.main, that is part of the div section. Now here I am going to add the width for this, that is 400 px. Next I am going to add the margin for this block, that is 100 px. Next is auto. I will add 0 and then the auto. Done. Next I will add few CSS for the register section, that is for the register class which we have added for this second form or the second div section, which will be holding this h2 as well as the form layout. Let me go to this app.css. So here I am going to add the background color. I am going to make use of this RGB along with alpha. So here I am going to make everything 0 darker, and the alpha channel transparency will be, or the opacity will be 0.5. Done. Next the width I am going to set over here as 100% so that it can spread across the parent divs area. Next I am going to add the font size for this. Font size I want for this as 18 px. This you can modify as per your requirement. Next I want to make this as a rounded corner, so I am making use of this border radius property. 10 px is fine for our case. Next I am going to add the border around this form, that is 1 px solid I want. Next I want to color that along with the alpha channel, so this will be 255, 255, 255, and the alpha channel I will add as 0.3. Next I want to add the shadow, that is the box shadow. I will make use of this CSS property, 2px, 2px, 15 px, and the RGBA I will use the same thing what I have used for this one, but with the opacity as 0.3. Color I am going to add this as white, that is half FFF. Done. Now let's preview this application. Right click and reload. Now our form looks something like this. The form is having a transparency so that we can view the background image. Now let's go back to our application. Now next thing is I am going to add the margin to the form. Now let's go back to our form. Here we have identified our form as a register. In our application we have added the ID for this form, that is as register. Now let me copy this from here. Copy, go back to app.css. Now here I am going to refer to that form with the help of the ID, that is like this. Sorry, there is a spelling mistake. Register. Okay, done. Now I am going to add the margin. A margin of 40 px I will add. Done. Now let's view how it looks. Right click and just reload. Yeah, now it looks little bit good. That is, we are having a margin on the left side. Done. Let me go back to this application back. Now what I'm trying to do is I will try to style the form parameters. That is this the first name as well as the second name. First name I will modify, and the same thing we can copy for the second name as well. Also we will try to style the submit button. Next I will try to style the form first name. Let me go to this main start. From here let me copy this, go to app.css, and we can refer this with the help of the ID what we have provided, that is form first name. Go to here. Okay, now for the first name I'm going to set the family as sans serif. Done. Next I'm going to set the font size. Font size I have used 18px so that you can maintain across the application. Font style I'm trying to add over here it as italic. Done. Now let's preview this application how it looks. Yeah, it has made it as italic. Now let's add this for the second one as well. Copy. You can add this as a part of a class, and then you can attach that class over here at the parent level. That also you can do. Go to app.css and paste it over here. Done. Now let's refresh this application. Now it has styled this first name label as well as the second name. So these things we have done, and the last part what is remaining is the submit button. Now we are going to style the submit button. Let me copy what is the HTML name for this. It is OJ submit. Copy this and go to app.css, and we need to refer this with the help of this ID what we have added. This I have considered because I am considering in your application you might have n number of buttons. So in that case you can refer to each and every button with the help of the ID, or you can create a generic class, and that class you can add across the buttons. Now here I am trying to set the width to 200px. Sorry, it has made as 2000. This is fine. Next I am trying to add over here padding. Padding 7px would be sufficient in our case. Next is the font size. I want font of submit button to be less than the font of other sections in the form. Next I will try to add the font family like sans serif which we have added for other sections as well. Next I want to have some weight for the characters or the letters which are displayed in the submit form. I will set it as 600. You can add as per your requirement. Next property what I am trying to do over here is the background color. Background color, again I am going to make use of RGB with the alpha. Now this time I am trying to give some random colors numbers over here. All those details you will get from your respective customer, like what should be the submit color. Color I am going to set it as white. Next cursor I want that to be a pointer. If you want to have any other thing you can have. A pointer I will add over here. Next I want the shadow, that is the box shadow I will make use of over here. Box shadow of 1px, 1px, 5px, and the RGB with the alpha channel I will make use of, which I have used already, that is with the 0.3 opacity. Next I want few margins. I will add margin at top and at the bottom. You can use the generic margin, then you can set right and left to accordingly, and top bottom as 0. That also you can do. I will make use of specifically margin bottom and margin left properties over here. Margin bottom I want 20px, that's enough, else it will look little ugly. Margin towards left I want this to be little more, that is 60px. Done. Now let's see how our application looks. Just reload. Yeah, our application loads first, then the background image. So like this we can make use of CSS and build the registration form or any feedback form, so and so forth things with the help of our Visual Builder application. We have considered this because most of the people will find the resources over the internet for CSS styling, which will be helpful for the newbies or the people who are starting the UI designing with the help of Visual Builder applications.